And here in the U.S., shares of Amazon continued their slide on Monday. They dropped 10% in the last session after reporting yet another losing quarter. Last week, the company reported a loss of $126 million. But here's the kicker. Amazon took in more than $19 billion in sales. That's 23% more than a year before. The main reason for Amazon's failure to turn a profit is that it simply spends a lot. The company invests in large warehouses to store all the merchandise it sells, and it has been spending on infrastructure to expand internationally. Now compare that model to Alibaba, the Chinese e-commerce giant, and then some. Alibaba simply acts as a go-between or marketplace for online buyers and sellers. Alibaba also sells advertising space for merchants who want to be featured higher on searches. The net result? The company said its annual profit nearly tripled in the last fiscal year to $3.71 billion. It is due to go public as soon as September. Now, for more on where Alibaba and Amazon and e-commerce stands as Alibaba gears up for an IPO, we are joined by Ari Zoldan. He's the CEO of Quantum Networks. Ari, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here again, Karina.
All right, let's start with the state of e-commerce here in the U.S.
Sure.
We had two reports, one in Russia, that it's booming in Russia, same thing in China. E-commerce has been in the U.S. a lot longer than those two markets. So where do things stand right now, and where is the trend for the U.S. market?
Well, it's only going to go up. I mean, the saturation points are there. More and more people have a mobile phone, so they're going to be shopping off of their mobile browser, whether it's their tablet or their laptop. So e-commerce isn't going anywhere, and I think the deeper internet penetration exists, the more e-commerce shopping is going to.
Okay, so having said that, is there room in the marketplace for newcomers? Although Alibaba is huge in China,
right,
it's relatively new to the U.S. market. And we know that they're preparing for their IPO.
Sure.
Is there going to be space for them to make inroads among U.S. consumers?
I think so, but I think that there's going to be a real learning curve. We spoke about last time. There's going to be a real learning curve involved because Alibaba is a B2B. It's a business-to-business place. So you have buyers and sellers coming together. They don't hold inventory. They're just matchmakers. Where Amazon takes inventory, that's the reason why their costs are just astronomical.
Okay, now speaking of the costs, that's of course what hurt their profits.
Right.
But going forward, do you see them returning to profitability, and if so, when?
You know, Bezos doesn't seem to really care. I mean, he's focused on growing the company. I think he sees e-commerce really at its genesis right now. So I think e-commerce is going to look different in 5, 10, and 15 years. And he's just interested in just becoming the everything to the end user. And he's about instant delivery. He wants to make the customer happy, and he doesn't really care right now about profitability.
He doesn't care, but the investors do.
The investors do care.
Clearly, the stock sold off 10% when the earnings came out. I mean, the people who are selling off right now, are they short-sighted, or are these sort of people who are seriously concerned about the long-term profitability of the company?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Amazon is, they're the 800-pound gorilla in this space. They're not going anywhere. And they're probably looking to free up some cash temporarily. So they're probably short positions. I don't think that they're concerned about Alibaba taking a stake in the U.S. market.
Okay, so when you say they're short positions right now, is it because they want to take money out of the market because they're concerned about the overall market, do you think, getting too frothy? Or is it about they want to take some of the money out of, say, Amazon and perhaps invest it when Alibaba goes public?
I think so. It's possible. I mean, look, they are looking at this huge, I think probably the largest IPO in history. So I think it's opportunities for companies that are focused on the, that are on Amazon, take a couple of bucks off the market and invest it into another player. But again, it's a different player. It's a B2B player versus Amazon, which is a business consumer play.
So would you say somebody who's got their portfolio, it would make sense to have both Alibaba and Amazon, or is it really, should you be picking one or the other?
No, I mean both. If you have the opportunity to play in the business-to-business space, like a behemoth like Alibaba across the pond, and also play in the Amazon space in the U.S., I think it's a slam dunk. Okay,
and in terms of as they're gearing up for their IPO, we've talked about this before, but the sense that the retail investor, how aware of Alibaba are they at this point? Because we've been talking about it for a while now.
Right.
We know that the investors Wall Street's very aware of Alibaba and the potential, but in terms of getting the retail investor, they're going to be able to attract much of that in terms of investment?
The average consumer on the street, if you walk outside right here in Times Square, they've never heard of Alibaba. It's fascinating, but again, you go into China, you go into South America. I mean, Alibaba is all over the place. So I think that there's going to be a learning curve. There's some education involved. What is a B2B marketplace? How can somebody play? How can a business or consumer play in the space? So there's going to be a learning curve involved. It's not. I don't think today it's going to be like the Amazon. I think it's going to take them a good 5 or 6 years really to be able to penetrate the market.
And when you say educate people about what the B2B marketplace really offers, what does it offer versus, say, an Amazon?
So if I'm a manufacturer and I'm looking to try to reach the end user, I'm a manufacturer looking to reach another wholesaler or a retailer, all the platform does is that it connects the buyer with the seller. Okay. And it's typically based on volume. So if I'm interested in turning out 30 or 40 different sweaters in a specific color, you go out there, you put out your bid, and then you'll have people bidding on your business.
And then, so basically, it's a bet on the success of the businesses, less than a bet on the success of the consumer. So if you're worried about consumer spending in the U.S.,
correct,
perhaps an Alibaba would be a better play for you.
Correct, exactly.
Okay. Great stuff. All right, so are you planning on getting into the stock?
If I can get it, yeah. If I can get a small slice of it,
right,
it would be a great
challenge.
Be a great bet. Yeah,
okay, all right.
It would be a great bet.
Thank you so much for joining. That
My
was
pleasure.
Ari Zoldan, the CEO of Quantum Networks.